I'm going to start out this review with my conclusion, and then as we go through, I'll explain my reasons. So we'll have a look over the vehicle, then we'll do a POV test drive, and then we'll do the performance testing later on. Firstly, Touareg R, awesome, really good idea. High performance version of its largest SUV sold in Australia. The problem I have with it is that the powertrain, it's a plug-in hybrid, so the first plug-in hybrid for the Touareg R. It's very refined, very powerful, 340 kilowatts combined. So that's definitely in line with R, but this example is very heavy. It's almost 2.5 tons. It's about 200 kilograms heavier than the 210 TDI diesel. And that just doesn't sit right with me for an R model. But also when you hear this thing, it's very quiet. Luxurious and refined, yes. But for an R model, I am expecting more. I think this powertrain would be better reserved for a top spec model, top spec variant, but just not the high performance standalone R model. I do like this powertrain though. It's a plug-in hybrid, 3-litre turbo petrol V6 paired with a 14 kilowatt hour battery, providing a range of around 50 kilometers. You can plug it in and charge it up. I've got a plug on the other side, it's Type 2 socket. I charged it up at home. I've got a 22 kilowatt charger at home, and it took in about 7 kilowatts. I'll flash up the exact specifications now on what the maximum charging rate is, but it takes around 2 hours with at 7 kilowatts, and then it provides that 50 kilometers range. So you could potentially drive this to work every day and not have to put fuel in it at all. There are settings in there that you can play around with the battery and hold the battery level, which I don't really know where that would come in handy. For me it did, because I can hold the battery level and then do the performance testing just to make sure we get maximum performance out of it. In normal conditions though, if I'm going to plug it in and charge it right up to full, then I'm going to use that 50 kilowatts. Why wouldn't I? Why would I want to hold it and reserve it? This is not the only plug-in hybrid that does that. I think they all the ones that I've tested, there's some sort of hold function. Maybe you want to hold it for when you're driving around the city, where electric powertrains are sort of more efficient. Out on the highway when you're going 100 kilometers an hour plus, electric powertrains usually chew into the battery pretty quickly. So yeah, you could reserve this and just only use it in the city, and then when you're out on the highway, you rely on that V6 engine. So that's another point that I have. This powertrain, having the ability to plug it in and use electric power for 50 kilometers, it's not very powerful, it's not very quick. It can go up to highway speeds just fine. It's actually pretty good for a plug-in hybrid. A lot of them are quite weak in terms of acceleration and power. This is actually not too bad, but it's definitely not in sort of R territory. It's not extremely quick or anything like that. And it just makes me think, well, why would you buy the R model with 340 kilowatts, then plug it in and drive it around like with the power of a Toyota Corolla or something like that, and not use any petrol? It just doesn't seem to sit right with me for an R model. The powertrain, as I said, put it into the normal Touareg or a top line luxury level Touareg, beautiful. Then you can, enjoy the luxury and then still have the benefit of being able to drive on electric power. For me, I would rather see this with the Audi RS4 or detuned version of the Audi RS4 engine, 2.9 twin turbo V6, produces around 330 kilowatts in the Audis, but you could detune it for this for about 300 kilowatts. That'll get rid of some of the weight. So the diesel, as I said, weighs around 2.25 tons. This weighs just under 2.5 tons. If you got rid of that battery and an electric motor, I think you'd get it back down to 2.2 or something. And then you have 300 kilowatts. The power to weight ratio would be similar to this, except you'd get that more characterful engine, more noise from the exhaust. Anyway, let's have a closer look. So it does look like an R model. It's got the black highlights, all black grille around the front, black side mirrors, and huge black wheels, 22 inches with massive blue painted calipers. They're floating discs as well. And then around at the back, you've got the trademark, well, it doesn't have quad outlet exhaust, but very fat twin exhausts, or at least the tips are. I love the design overall. I'm a fan of subtle, sleeper style, understated, wolf in sheep's clothing. No, wolf in sheep's clothing. That'd be weird the other way around, a sheep in wolf's clothing. Inside there's a very similar theme. Conservative, neat and tidy, professional, but also a bit business class and luxurious. It's got the blue stitching as well, unique to the R. There's some blue highlights on the steering wheel there. Nice seats in the front, side bolstering, They don't look super aggressive, but once you sit in them, yeah, they provide plenty of lateral support. This example's also got the massage function. And then in the back, also plenty of leg room. And this has got the full panoramic glass roof. You've also got complete climate control and seat heating for the outer seats. But yeah, heaps of leg room, look at that. My knees are nowhere near that. Even if the seat came back a bit and the driver in the front was taller than me, I'd still have plenty of room left over. Even the middle seat is quite good because it does have a big transmission tunnel, but at least you've got quite a big platform to put your feet, or you can just rest them to the side. Headroom is not an issue for me, like my head's nowhere near the ceiling there. You've got this netted fabric cover for the sunroof. I'm not a fan of this sort of stuff because in Australia, it gets very hot in summer. Sorry, I'll just get into the light a bit more. It gets very hot and the sun sort of pierces through that a little bit. And I find that, you know, if you go to the beach or go for a picnic for the, you know, a couple of hours in the middle of the day, you come back and the cabin is quite hot. I'd rather have a solid cover for the panoramic roof. But it's better than some of the EVs that are coming out, and some petrol vehicles, I guess, that have got a full glass roof with no cover at all. You can tell they're from Europe where they don't really have hot temperatures, but yeah, you get back in and it's just a cooked cabin. Straight away, you just have to pump the air conditioning. Luckily, you know, this modern technology where you can connect to the vehicle remotely via your phone, you can preset the air conditioning and all of that, I guess. But still, I'd rather just have a solid cover just to block off that sun. Even when you're doing a big road trip, sometimes you just don't want that any sun coming through. You just want it to be just completely sealed. This has got climate vents in the pillar as well, so added luxury and comfort for the rear passengers. So even the middle seat passenger can enjoy those middle vents, and then the side passengers get their own vents. Nice big bottle holders in the doors, and I like the way Volkswagen has fit a bit of carpet to the bottom there, so the bottle doesn't rattle around. And then in the back, we've got a huge boot, 810 litres, which I don't think is any different to the diesel models, which is good. It means the battery is efficiently packaged in there. You've got pull tabs to fold down the rear seats from the back here, which is great. You've got these little shopping hooks as well, which I find very handy because you put, you know, a single bag or a couple of bags of shopping, it just gets, floats around, smashes against the wall, whereas you can use those hooks. You've also got a full net, and you can adjust the floor height with those buttons there. 12-volt socket as well. And then underneath, we've just got a tyre repair kit and I suppose a little bit of storage. And then under the bonnet, 3-litre turbo-petrol V6. It produces 250 kilowatts alone, and then paired with the electric motor, it bumps it up to 340 kilowatts, making it the most powerful Touareg on sale today. The 0 to 100 claim of 5.1 seconds, but we'll test that out later on with the Vbox, see what it can do. All right, let's go for a drive, and I'll show you what I mean about this engine just not quite suiting the R badge, at least in my opinion, but you can tell me what you think in the comments below. Just before we set off, let's have a quick look at this touchscreen. It's still running this sort of older operating system of Volkswagen's. It's new in terms of the size, very large. It does have this little crack down the middle there to separate the instrument cluster and the multimedia. It does have that kind of predictive, well, not predictive, but it's knowing that my hands are getting close, so some options come along, including down the bottom. It's not completely intuitive in my opinion for some things, like the air conditioning. You push the aircon button and then you'll get all of that, but then up here is everything else. Why not just have the climate up here, then it sort of just drops down, but I guess then you've got these options that kind of remain here all the time down below, so it's, I don't know, it just seems a bit clumsy. Again, I would rather just have a separate climate control button panel down here with actual physical buttons, so I can just turn things on and off. Like for example, the temperature. How do you adjust the temperature? You might think these little things here with the red and the blue, that's just for the seats though. You've got to hit this temperature control, then you can move it around. It's pretty clever how you can kind of swipe it and stuff, and you can actually push the little dots, but then it just sort of hangs around floating in the air and you can't really get rid of it. You got to push the aircon button again and it will disappear. So that is just, yeah, a little bit clumsy in my opinion. And then this has got comfort access seats, so when I get out, the seat will roll back automatically to help me get to, well, allow me to get out easier. I don't like that system because, you know, if I've got kids in the back or anybody in the back or my camera bag in the back, the seat's going to, you know, roll back. It does have a threshold, obviously, and it won't crush things, but still, I'd rather just have the seat stay here. I don't need to, you know, have the seat roll back. Point of my story is to turn that off. You know, it's a very complicated process. You think you go into the vehicle settings and you've got a little settings button down here for vehicles, for the vehicle, then you can go through and fiddle around with all that, the instrument cluster. But yeah, if you want to turn the seat sliding system off, you might think opening and closing, nothing there, all about central locking and all that sort of stuff. That's where it would usually be kept in other vehicles, but it's not actually in there. You've got to go to the seat button here, and then you can go to settings, and then you can turn off convenient entry function. Like, why not have it with the opening and closing, because that's kind of where it happens when you close the door and open it or whatever. It's just a little bit cluttered in my opinion. The instrument cluster is much nicer or much more sort of intuitive, and you can change around what you want to show in the left and right and the middle, including your mileage and all that sort of stuff, but also you can go across and show the assistance systems, for example, the map, the audio, and all that kind of thing, vehicle status. Oops. So even these buttons here, they're sort of touch control, but they're just a little bit funny to work. Oops. Oil change, and you can go through the current vehicle status, live tire pressure monitoring. We've got night vision. Takes a little bit to load up, but obviously it's not night time, so it's not going to really showcase the potential of that. Okay, that doesn't seem like it wants to load. Moving on. Head-up display, off-road, and I've just got it on the driving data. But you can go into back into here, settings, instrument cluster, and then you can configure what you want on the left and right as well. And you can also change the view to a more sort of futuristic box style layout, or traditional gate. Oops, my foot just slipped off the brake pedal. Or traditional gauges. And then down here you've got the different modes. So this has got fully adjustable air suspension. You can raise it up and lower it down, and sync it to the drive mode, and then you've got your different drive modes as well, including eco, comfort, normal, sport, individual, off-road, and snow. In individual you can mix and match different settings, and you'll notice the battery level, the battery system is also matched to what mode you're in. If I go into sport mode, it goes to hybrid, uses both drives optimally. But if you start playing around with the battery level, reserve charge level, so you can move that up and down to what you want it. I have sat there for a while and let the battery charge. It does take quite a long time. You're better off just plugging it in if you want to, you know, fill the battery and then reserve it. So fill it up, go back in here, hit menu, and then just toggle up to the top, and then it will maintain that battery level, or try to maintain that battery level for that drive. As soon as you turn the vehicle off and then start again, all of this sort of starts again. I'll leave it in sport mode for this drive. Also turn the stability control into a sport setting, so just hold it down. ESC sport, directional stability restricted, so it won't provide that help for you, or not as much anyway. Not that I'm planning to do any sort of drifting, I just want to see how it handles, the chassis handles, rather than how the driver assistance systems handle. We're averaging 9.5. Mark is reviewing this car over the week, and he drives pretty conservatively, and he said he did charge it up a few times and kind of mixed it in, a bit of fully electric driving and a bit of you know, battery dead, so relying on the petrol engine. 9.5 is the average for that, which is not bad considering it produces 340 kilowatts straight away. So I'm in sport mode, it's very quiet, which is nice for a luxury vehicle. So again, I think this plug-in hybrid powertrain would be great in just the top of the line Touareg luxury spec, but for an R, I'll put my foot down, it just sort of groans and moans a bit, but not much barking, or definitely no popping from the exhaust or anything like that. Very quick, awesome response as you'd expect with the electric motor assistance. Loads of torque as well. It really pushes you in the back of the seat from low RPM. Definitely quick, so there's no doubting the vehicle's speed and acceleration. The suspension is really nice. It absorbs the bumps, air suspension, so of course it's, yeah, just a beautiful ride. But again, it comes back to that R. I'm in the R, I'm in the sport mode, so it should be should be quite stiff, where it's not. It's maintaining good body stability and maintaining excellent directional stability and all that. So it's absorbing the bumps and plenty of wheel travel, and it's not too rigid or firm, so you can definitely go for a nice drive and not be, you know, bouncing around like you're in a hot hatch or a super hatch. But I was expecting a little bit more from an R model. So the R badge, I don't know, it carries a lot of weight, I think, because the Golf R is, you know, one of the original super hatches, if you like, you know, very high power and four-wheel drive, and it's a pretty hard-edged model, whereas this, it just doesn't quite steer like a hard-edged model. Is that a bad thing? I guess it's not, because it just means, you know, this is an SUV at the end of the day, so it's going to be used by families and so on. And it is good that it's sort of mixing the best of both worlds, in that it's comfortable, it's still got excellent handling, but yeah, it's able to absorb bumps. The steering is quite nice. It's sort of, you know, Volkswagen-y in that it's formal and precise, but it's not super encouraging. I think it walks a good balance though. It's not, this is not a sports car, it's a sports SUV, but it's not a sports car, so you can't expect pure raw steering feel. Okay, we'll try out the paddle shifters. It's just got these little small paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. They feel okay. They kind of got this little click to them. But yeah, going back to second gear, see, there's no sort of aggressive blipping of the throttle. Just set then boost mode. It definitely offers strong performance. You can push the lever over into manual mode as well. Let's see if it will hold the gear in red line. We might have to wait until we get to a straight bit for that. Oh. No, it's upshifting by itself in manual mode, which is fair enough, I guess. It's not a sports car. Good control through this tight section. It feels like it wants to be here. It's not, you know, completely uncomfortable on a tight, twisty mountain road. Full throttle. It's almost, yeah, worth just leaving in S mode. Don't worry about changing gears, because you don't get that feedback in terms of sound to know what's happening. It kind of just, it's already ready to go and it doesn't really matter. Okay, going back down, I might just leave it in S mode, and we'll just jump on the brakes to see if it didn't really blip the throttle and downshift then. It remained in third gear, which, I don't know, for an R model I was expecting just a little bit more aggression, I guess. I sound like I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed in the vehicle. It's, by itself, it's wonderful. It offers awesome performance. It's got the ability to charge up and drive on electric power alone. And it's very refined to drive, spacious inside, good technology. But just that R badge, I just don't know if it needs that R badge. It should be just an R line maybe, with the plug-in hybrid, because it's just not quite aggressive enough for what we know have been R models, you know, what we're used to from an R model. Yeah, definitely awesome performance. I'm keen to see what it goes like with some performance tests of the Vbox, see if it can reach the claim of 5.1 seconds. Alright, well, to calm down a bit, we'll put it back into the normal mode, and I'll hit E mode, and we'll just drive on electric power, and I'll just kind of show you what it's like. So completely quiet. I'll give it some when we get around this corner and we can see what sort of acceleration it offers. But yeah, it does bring in a new dimension. You know, this is luxury motoring now because it's so quiet. Although that petrol engine sounds like it's pretty choked up anyway. It's already quiet. But let's just see. So I'll slow down. I'll give it full power and just see how it responds. I'll just get that display up so you know it's in E mode. Drive electric only. So sometimes in plug-in hybrids, certainly hybrids, but plug-in hybrids, you'll hit the hit full throttle and it will automatically engage the petrol engine. Let's see what it does. Yep. So it still engages the petrol engine, which I guess is good because, you know, you might be in a situation on the highway where you need that full power to get in front of someone, or, you know, you just might be in a circumstance where you're pulling out of a side street and this speeding car just surprisingly comes around, and you need that full power. So it is good that it does jump to petrol engine. But if you drive normal and just remain at a reasonable throttle position threshold, it drives just like an EV. Decent performance. I have found there's a little bit of, I'm not sure if you heard that just then, I'll just stop for a second. The gearbox, it's kind of funny when it's running on the electric motor. When you're in hybrid mode, I find it's smooth and, you know, it's just behaves completely normal. But when you're in E mode, it still runs through the 8-speed transmission, and it just has this jolt and this sort of sudden jerkiness when you're slowing down. And I don't know whether it's because it doesn't know what gear to be in, or because the, you know, high torque electric motor is kind of shoving it into a gear, or that it's, you know, ready to go into, or something. I don't know, but there's definitely moments where it's just jolting a bit. I'll try and do it again. So that just shifted into, I wonder if we can use manual mode still. So I'm still in electric mode. Yeah, so I'm going up through the gears with the electric motor. So I'm guessing that joltiness is something to do with having the electric motor run through the gearbox when it's in automatic mode, because it's probably trying to downshift and it's just, I don't know what it is. Could be subject to this test car as well. It might have had a hard life or something, or it's just, yeah, completely normal. I don't know, but there's definitely some sort of, just then, so I didn't do anything with the throttle. I just left it in my foot on the exact same position, and it kind of just went into the next gear, if you like. Yeah, a little bit strange, I guess, but that's when you're running in EV mode. So when you just put it into normal mode, or sorry, if you just start the vehicle and forget any mode, or even in comfort mode, for example, it will, it behaves completely normal. I don't feel any of that joltiness. And it's only sometimes when you're slowing down, I find it'll do it sometimes. But if you just drive, you know, normally in hybrid mode, you don't get any of that. Overall, it's a superb package, and it's awesome that Volkswagen Australia has been able to bring in the R model with plug-in hybrid power, because Australia usually misses out on that sort of stuff. So it is awesome that we've got it here, and it is great to see the R badge being spread to different variants, or different model lines, sorry. I would like to see lots of other brands do the same thing, like Toyota RAV4, Hyundai Tucson. They're just screaming out for performance variants. They've got the powertrains there, they've got the technology. Why not just make a performance variant? If everybody's jumping to SUVs, you know, we're kind of losing some of the old performance models that we used to have, especially when Australia used to make cars. You know, you'd have a family version, a family car, the Ford Falcon and Holden Commodore, then you'd have a number of performance variants as well on top. Whereas now we have SUVs. They're all kind of pretty plain Jane and nothing that special about them. Some of them have sporty packs, mainly sticker packs or cosmetic packs, but nothing in the powertrain department. So yeah, awesome that Volkswagen has got a Touareg R with proper separated performance powertrain and all of that. I just think this would be even better if it had just a standalone twin turbo V6 or something like the RS4 engine, and then reserve this plug-in hybrid for just a top-line luxury variant of the Touareg. Good fuel economy though, excellent performance, excellent refinement. It goes really nicely, and it's very spacious, good technology. Apart from the touchscreen, it's just a little bit clunky in terms of the layout, but they're all like that these days, or a lot of them are like that. I wish they would go back to separating some controls, providing some physical controls as well. All right, let's head out now to the private road and do some performance testing and see what it goes like. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to maintain a full battery for the performance test on the private road, but I've charged the battery up so we can try it out here. I've got the Vbox on the back window. I'm in sport mode. I've got the hybrid system running, so it's not in E mode. I've got the stability control turned off. We'll put it in S mode for the transmission. That's 100. Yeah, 5.00. So it doesn't seem to make any difference when you have a full battery compared with an empty battery, which is good because it means you're getting, 340 kilowatts regardless of the battery level.